right. Good evening, everybody. Well, we're doing a lot more of these podcasts. I'll tell you, it's actually a little bit easier on me because it's you can get a lot more information out in a short period of time versus typing it up. Anyway, let me get you caught up on this thing here with the warming center. We reached out. I know we brought this up in the last podcast. We didn't have a lot of information at that point in time, and we do now on what's going on. I shared a post earlier today from Commissioner Andy Anderson, who actually got a copy of the policy regarding the warming center and opening up for it. I reached out to multiple commissioners. I guess this would have been yesterday morning is when I started reaching out to them. I think I reached out to 5 of them, if I remember correctly. Anyway, Andy certainly got some information. I actually just got another call from one right before this, before we went live here, and updated me as well on what they had found. And we talked to some other players involved in this thing here. So, we've got some information now, and let's see if we can't put this here out there and maybe get some answers to or provide some insight on what's going on this year. Obviously, we knew last week, all through the week, they kept telling us about we're going to have a bad weather event. Low temperatures coming in, cold front's coming, it's coming. And guess what? It came. I mean, and I understand, sometimes in Tennessee with the weather, we don't never know what we're going to get. One day they're going to tell us it's going to be 80 degrees and sunny, and the next thing you know, 2 days later, they're telling us it's going to snow and we're going to have 3 inches. It varies a lot. So it's a matter of paying attention along the way. But if you have that information in hand, you can start preparing to say, hey, we're going to have some bad weather coming. So we need to take and get in here and we need to be prepared for this weather that is coming. And if it never materializes, not a big issue. We've made those preparations and we just don't have to follow through with them. That's kind of a common sense type deal is the way I look at it. And maybe I look at this thing wrong. Maybe somebody else sees it differently than what I see it. Again, nothing ever materialized with this one here. And yes, we did have some, with the wind chill. I know Sunday morning, I think the coldest, I've got a tracking system that I use to monitor outdoor temperatures, ambient temperatures. I've got it in a position where it doesn't catch any wind chill. So I had 9 degrees was my lowest, which, is definitely in the single digits. And I'm going to tell you that wind was whipping. Boy, it was whipping Sunday morning. I actually had to go into town to the shop, and I'm going to say probably 15, 20 mile an hour was pretty consistent. It was coming through. Anyway, we definitely had cold weather, and it lasted. I'm going to say this here. I got out Sunday morning, probably around about 8 o'clock to head into town, maybe a little after. And it was cold. The wind was just whipping and it was cold. But I'm going to say yesterday when I got out, probably around about, got outside around about 6:30 in the morning, it was a different cold than it was with that wind chill. So, flowing into it, we at least had at least 24 hours. I'm going to say more than that of extremely cold weather there. Moving into this here, I'm going to go back in here and read to you what is the policy or just kind of skim over it so you understand. This was created December 15th of last year of 2024 to ensure the safety and well-being of residents during extreme winter weather. Henderson County will implement a warming shelter policy. The policy will activate under the following conditions. Triggering weather conditions. Any extreme winter weather conditions outside the normal seasonal range for the area, specifically when temperatures reach single digits, 10 degrees Fahrenheit or below, or sub-zero conditions, including wind chills, as recorded by the National Weather Service. So let's break that down. We definitely hit single digits. With the wind chill, that definitely was in the single digits, and it says including wind chills. So, the wind chill brought it down to single digits. And we knew that we knew this was coming. All right. Designated warning locations, the Watson Center and or the Henderson County Courthouse. These facilities will be open to the public to serve as temporary warming shelters. Hours of operation. Warming shelters will be open 24 hours during declared extreme weather events to ensure continuous access for those in need. Okay, so we know they're going to be open up for a minimum of 24 hours, and it will either be at the Watson Center, where it has been historically held, or at the Henderson County Courthouse, which to my knowledge has never been one there. Coordination and support. Local emergency management, law enforcement, and community organizations will collaborate to provide supervision, safety, and any essential services such as basic refreshments, blankets, and seating for those seeking shelter. We're going to come back to that in just a second here. Public preparedness. All right. While the county will provide warming shelters during extreme weather conditions, residents are strongly encouraged to be prepared to take care of themselves and their families. This includes having an emergency winter kit with warm clothing, blankets, non-perishable food, water, medication, and other essentials. The shelters are intended as a temporary resource during extreme conditions, and individuals should plan ahead to reduce reliance on emergency facilities. Public notification. Announcements regarding shelter activation will be made through county communication channels, including social media, local news outlets, and emergency alerts. Now, if I remember correctly, I think we've lost the red alerts. I'm not sure if there's anything if that's come to fruition, if it's anything that has been replaced. We'll have to dig into that there to find out as well. And to close this thing out, this policy is based on weather trends for Henderson County, where extreme cold is uncommon but possesses significant risk to public safety during unusual events. The county is committed to protecting vulnerable populations, including the elderly, homeless, and those without reliable heating, by providing safe, warm spaces during such emergencies. All right, now I want to touch on that one there for just a minute. And this was where my conversation got started in here. And one of the things that I brought up in that initial podcast back on Sunday afternoon, I've seen posts on Facebook where people have actually, they've been asking for heaters and electric blankets. And I know that the Henderson County Homeless Coalition has been doing a lot to help these people out. So, and we're dealing with homeowners. Now, I want you to remember this here. We're not just dealing with homeless. That's a misconception. Everybody thinks that this is about homeless. We have citizens that have, live in houses here that have issues with heat. And this here could be this is, according to what this policy states, it's designed to help them as well. So we know that that's happened. Now, let's get into this one back here that we want to come back to: coordination and support. All right, and this is what I want you. I'm going to read this to you one more time. Local emergency management, law enforcement, and community organizations will collaborate to provide supervision, safety, and any essential services such as basic refreshments, blankets, and seating for those seeking shelter. Okay, now here's where we are, and this is where we start to find when things kind of went awry, in my personal opinion, on how this has been addressed. All right. The first commissioner who contacted me back after reaching out to this year talked about a policy, and that's the policy we now have a copy of. So, yeah, that policy is now existing. We have that. But where the issue lies here is there was a lot of information put out in regards to this whole lack of having this warming center open that does not align with what is in this policy. All right. Number one is the Henderson County Homeless Coalition. They do a tremendous amount of work in our community, and I mean a tremendous amount of work. And so you're aware This is a volunteer service, and I actually talked with the representative. This is pretty much it's all volunteers. There's no paid people in there. Nobody pays anything. I mean, no one receives a salary of any kind. They make no money. Everything they do is strictly volunteer to help our community. And what happened here, the first, like I said, the first commissioner that got back to me, talked about the policy, and then I got another one that talked about the policy, and both of them were still doing research at that point in time. One of them eventually did call me back and had information. And let me let me go back to the very first commissioner I talked to, who was unable at the time to help based on their work schedule. Something that kind of stood out to me, and this thing got what was told to me from the first commissioner. The next commissioner I talked to reiterated that this was factual. Apparently, the mayor, the cell phone that he's had, that the commissioners have had access to, he has taken that cell phone and has it now transferred. When you call that number, it transfers into to the county courthouse, and they're from what they're telling me, he now has another separate private cell phone that they don't have the number to. So I'm not sure. Two of our commissioners was unable to reach the mayor. Why that is, I do not know, and I think that's a serious concern because our commissioners need to be able to contact the mayor. I mean, this is just some common sense on this thing here. Anyway, that's what kind of, spurred a conversation. I'm like, all right, well, I definitely want to dig a little bit more now that we're hearing this information. And I've gotten that so far from two commissioners. So digging into this here, like I said, one of them that came back, tried to reach the mayor, was unsuccessful. Did reach out to the EMA director. And the first response they got from the EMA director was, well, this is above my pay grade. I don't know how it's above the EMA director's pay grade. I mean, it states in here, this is handled by, we'll go back to it again. So make sure I'm reading it correctly so nobody say I'm doing anything wrong here. Local emergency management, law enforcement, and community organizations, pretty much are going to work together to provide the service. I mean, if you're an EMA director, you definitely need to be aware of what's going on with severe weather. I hope you are anyway. If not, boy, that's a lot of tax money we certainly probably need to get back and find somebody else that can do the job. That's a serious concern. And I'm going to say this here. I did go back in when all this was happening. I went back through and I checked, and I didn't see anything posted on the Henderson County government website, Facebook page. I did not see anything posted on the emergency management's Facebook page. I did check in with local law enforcement. Now, I did not check the Henderson County Sheriff's Department, which I'll do that right quick. I did check the Lexington Police Department, and they actually had two posts about this weather coming up. So, they were advising citizens to be aware. Now, understand this is a county organization that's handling this here, county government. It's not this is not the city's responsibility. Let's see here if this here will show it to me. Here we go. Okay. No. No, the last post from them was November 20th, and they had nothing to do with this weather coming up. So, the only law enforcement and the only law enforcement that shared information here was LPD. And like I said, they're really not they're not part of this here because it's city against county. Now, I'm also going to come back in here. I want to check something else while I'm at it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Now, going back into the conversation was what here's the information that's being this is what's happened here. There's been multiple bits of information put out about this here, but none of it coincided with what is actually stated in the policy. And, I'm going to read off some stuff here that's been sent to me, and then some conversations I also had with commissioners. But pretty much what's happened the last few years is the Henderson County Homeless Coalition has actually managed the center during inclement weather. They have a policy in place. The policy in place state the center will be open when weather hits single digits, wind chill included. The center should have been open last night. Tonight, we normally want some. All right. So what I'm finding out now is when information got questioned. Here we go. Here. Boom. Okay. We met the single digits, but what I'm also being told here is now that one of the things, this is part of the information that's come back, is, well, this has to be 2 days of weather events. Okay, well, that's not what the policy states. Plain and simple. The policy does not state that. And then I've been told that the Henderson County Homeless Coalition, again, who is a community organization, nonprofit, don't make any money, nobody gets paid, are the ones who are supposed to provide this service or handle everything for it. Again, that's not what the policy states. The policy states that they're community organizations, does not specifically state the Henderson County Homeless Coalition, only community organizations. So what's happened here is the buck's getting passed off to the Henderson County Homeless Coalition, and bottom line is these folks are doing just a bang up job and going above and beyond to help people out as much as possible. And they don't get paid for it. This is something that they do out of the goodness of their heart. And to throw them under the bus, that's just, that few things anger me, but that's one of the things that anger me. Don't help out. Don't throw under the bus people who are actually out here trying to do their best to help the people in our community. Especially when they do it on their time, they're giving them themselves to do it. They're not asking for anything in return. They're not asking for a salary. They're doing this here because it's the right thing to do. And the people who are actually getting paid are failing. Get mad at me saying that all you want to. I don't care. You're failing at your job. It is your job to take and provide these services. Yes, it says that you will collaborate with them, but at the end of the day, this belongs to the emergency management, to the EMA for Henderson County. It's their responsibility to take care of the people in this community. That's what our tax dollars are paid for. And you know what? When you even go back in here, it says it's not just about homeless. People who are paying taxes in this county right now, and you know what? Whether it's property taxes, sales taxes, it don't matter. They're paying taxes. When they're paying taxes, then these services need to be provided for them. That's part of what they're paying their taxes into, is to make sure that they're taken care of. Even the policy states that it's there to help these people. You know what? If you actually watch WBBJ, which I do quite a bit, and I know they catch some slack here and there. Every time I've been watching Mo, he has been showing the last few days our average weather for this time of the year, for the specific day he's showing. He'll show you the high and the low, and the date, the years it was set, when the records were set for those highs and lows. And then he compares it with what we have, our current weather. So, we've seen, this is right during this time frame, we're generally in the mid 50s. Last few days, what I've been watching, we're average mid 50s. I'm sorry, single degrees from mid 50s is a huge difference. And the concern here is what happens the next time this comes about. Now, also in all of this here, what I'm hearing is volunteers are needed for this program. Now, I will say this here. I have, again, talked to the Henderson County Homeless Coalition. Generally, they reach out to make these, to get this thing going. And this time they didn't do that. And they have apologized, but the responsibility shouldn't fall on them. For anybody who's watching their page and watching their post, they even post. I know Angela posts on on the taxpayers page. She's an admin, so she can do that, so we can share this information with people. I mean, they've been extremely busy with getting food boxes together. I don't know if you've noticed, but NIDEC, one of our community partners with in providing a lot of jobs in our area, has donated a tremendous amount of turkeys. So, they're busy. They're really working hard to get this stuff together to continue to help people as we're coming into the Christmas season. So, you know what? Sometimes they may not, they may not have the time and the resources to drop what they're doing when they're busy trying to do other things. But bottom line is the responsibility should not fall on them. This should be initiated by the county. The county should take action on this here and try to do everything they can to protect these citizens from this bitter cold. Now, I'm going to say something else. A couple of weeks ago, you guys saw all the posts, and I'm going to tell you right now, the post about the dogs down there in Scotts Hill, that thing just lit off. I haven't even looked at the last time, but I think we had, wow, let me pop that up right quick because I'm kind of curious now myself. Boom, 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 boom. That's not it. Oh yeah, that it had a ton of comments, a huge post reach, and I haven't gone back in and to look at it on the dashboard. Generally, when you see our post reach, you'll see like right now that one shows 11,000 or 11K. That's not really showing true numbers because we got a lot of people who actually look at our page who are not members, or who are not. I don't know how to say this here. They don't tag back into our system, and I don't fault people for doing that. We certainly welcome that there, but that posted off. We grew 100 people last week or the last couple of weeks over that one post. Now, we care enough about animals, and trust me, we do. I truly believe our community does. Now we got to look out for our neighbors. I mean, they're just, it looks like I have lost signal here for a second. All right, sorry about that there. I'm glitching a little bit here. I haven't checked. Yeah, my connection point's kind of fading in and out a little bit, just jumping all over the place. Hopefully, when we get a new internet service coming in here, this won't be an issue anymore. My apologies for that there. But anyway, that's where we are with this here is the wrong people are being blamed for this here. And is there blame? Should there be blame? Yeah, I mean, we dropped the ball here. Whether you like it, it's not about people being nice people or a nice guy. I'll tell you what, just because you're a nice guy doesn't mean you're qualified for the job. I mean, we just need to be honest, and that's what happens is we're not always honest with each other. We're so worried about, oh, that's my buddy, that's my friend. I go to church with that person, or you know what, they helped me unload my groceries one day. That doesn't mean that they are qualified or competent to do the job that they're held at task. And so. Whether we want to accept the reality of things, I can't help that. I mean, that's up to each individual person. But, we do need to hold people accountable. Our money pays in for these services, and they should be providing them. And we certainly, by no means, should anyone in a government position be throwing a nonprofit volunteer organization under the bus. That's absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. And, it's not my place to do it, but I am going to say I'm sorry about that to the Henderson County Homeless Coalition. You guys should not have to deal with that stuff there. But anyway, the question now is, this is an issue. The policy doesn't look bad. I mean, the way the policy is written, it doesn't look bad at all. There's a problem with the application here. And, right now the commission is on a quarterly meeting basis. But I would certainly hope that the commission is starting to reach out, since they can't reach the mayor. Maybe they need to reach out to the commissioners need to reach out to the EMA director and say, look, we don't need this to happen because we're going to roll into some pretty bad weather eventually. And people are going to need help. And I know that everybody talks about volunteers for this here, and that's kind of how everything is run. And I remember I've seen the volunteer sheets. I've seen where this block set up out there. Everything being done and organized by the Henderson County Homeless Coalition. Again, not their responsibility, but they are the ones they've grabbed the ball and they've run with it and they've tried to help. But you know what? Even at times, they still have other things going on. That does not absolve our county government of responsibility here. They need to make sure that this stuff happens. Pick up the phone if you notice weather's coming. Call the Henderson County Homeless Coalition. Can you guys help? Call law enforcement. We need to get volunteers in here. Put it out there. Share it. Use this page. By all means, I welcome anybody to use this page to get information out there to try to find it. You know what? To try to help get assistance. It's worked so far. I mean, why not use it? You know, put aside any kind of differences you may have or any kind of anger or animosity you may have with me and utilize a tool for the community because that's what it's here for. Anyway, I'm going to pop up in here and check. I know we got a couple comments here. I just want to address those right quick before I get off here. This went longer than I thought, but anyway, I'm going to jump in and check those right quick. Man, the EMA didn't even want people at the shelter during a severe storm tornado. They certainly don't care if people get cold. Yeah, I remember last year, and for those who don't remember, there was a big fiasco about this here last year. They were going to shut it down, and obviously public pressure got it opened back up and kept it open back up. And yeah, there are some responsibility issues from people who are actually using these warming centers. You know, this doesn't just fall on the county government. You know, we as individuals, we have a responsibility and we need to be doing the right thing. And by all means, you know what? If somebody's offering you assistance, don't spit in their face. Don't take advantage of it. Don't use it and abuse it. Take care of yourself. Show some personal responsibility. You know, this does go both ways, and people need to make sure that they're doing the right thing too. You know, that's just the bottom line. All right, Candy, that's wrong. Henderson County Homeless Coalition, no way responsible for this failure. You're absolutely right, Candy. They are not. They are not whatsoever. And they never received a call from EMA asking for help. You know, so, yeah, they may have been thin, but, you know, knowing the people that work there, the ones that I know and talk with, they would have figured something out. If nothing else, they would have gotten here and coordinated and got some help in here. But, you know, it's wrong. And it's absolutely wrong. And we definitely need to get it going, get it fixed because it's going to happen again. Angela. Okay, the fiasco that happened last year was during a tornado. There's never been a problem with the warming center. Thanks for clarifying that there, Angela. We certainly appreciate that there. You know, come on, folks. Man, I had somebody tell me the other day, it's like, all you do is get up here and complain about stuff. You know, I'm tell you what I get up here and do is talk about real problems that we have. There is positive, if you want positive posts, they're all over Facebook. You can see them all over the place. But if you want to deal with the problems that nobody else wants to deal with, or they want to take and turn a blind eye to, or they don't want you to talk about because it makes them look bad, come here. I'll tell you all about them. It's not about trying to be ugly towards people. It's not about trying to do the right thing. It's about holding people accountable so that they are doing the right thing so that we can have positive stuff. You know, but when you impact the people that you were designed to serve, there's a problem there. And I'm going to step up for the people who need assistance. I'm not going to let them be swept under the rug or neglected. It's just, I'm not going to let it happen. So anyway, like I said, this went longer than I wanted to. Sorry if I got a little off key there. Sorry if I got a little animated. You know, truth's a bit of pill sometime. Anyway, you guys talk about this stuff. I mean, get it out there, you know, share with your commissioners that you are unhappy with what happened here and let them know that you want to take and get something addressed. And because I'm going to tell you now, this is something I was talking about with somebody earlier. In the county, you have elected officials. And, you know, a mayor or commissioner, they can't go and tell somebody like the sheriff or the road superintendent what to do because they're elected to run their departments. The only thing the commission really has over that there is pretty much designates funds to them for their budget. That's pretty much it. They manage how they want to manage. You know, so they can't pick up the phone and call and tell them what to do. That's just how it goes. But the EMA director is not an elected position. That is an appointed position. And the commission can go back in here, and they do have they do have stroke, and they can sit there and say, look, we need to get this addressed for our citizens. So call and talk to your commissioners. Let them know that you're not happy with this here, that this needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed immediately because we are coming into cold weather, and they need to figure out some kind of action plan because this policy does not provide that. That's one thing that's missing in it. So they need to figure out an action plan, and they don't need to wait 3 months to the next quarterly meeting because by then the weather's gonna be gone. We need to address this right now and get it fixed because y'all don't realize this here, but come January, tornado season kicks in. I mean, it's stuff starts coming. So anyway, get on with your commissioners, tell them, hey, fix this problem. I'm going to get out of here. I've got some stuff to do. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. It does look like we got some nicer weather coming up, but I think Thursday I saw a possible couple thunderstorms maybe, but hopefully we're going to be safe in this stuff here, but just have a good night. Keep doing your Christmas shopping. Yeah. Again, if anybody wants to know, I wear a size 308. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Have a great evening. We'll catch you on the flip side.